Soul preserved, body intact. 80 years awake. These were the gifts your secret deal promised. But the old gods accidentally added one extra ingredient: patience. You weren't born a corpse. You were born screaming in a king's stone tomb where the floorboards above you occasionally try to forget you. 800 miles north, in a monastery where the right book is waiting for the right voice to read it. Tonight, someone is reading it. You are a lich. The word came from Old English. It meant a corpse, a body left behind. You were never supposed to leave behind. You were supposed to take your body with you. That is the entire point of being what you are. In life, you were a sorcerer, not a famous one. The famous ones, the ones in stories, made deals with darkness and lost. You made a different deal. You made a quiet deal. You hid it from everyone, including your apprentice. The deal was this: you poured your soul into an object. The lore calls it a phylactery. The Greeks called it a soul jar. The Egyptians called it a heart scarab. Every culture has a version. Yours is a small black iron amulet, no bigger than your thumb, lined with silver and inscribed with a single word in a dead language. You buried it under the floor of a tomb that did not yet exist. When your body died, your soul did not. Your body did, of course. The deal does not work the way the storytellers describe. You did not become beautiful and immortal. You became a corpse with a soul. The folklore was correct about this. The wrappings, the hollow eyes, the cold hands. You look exactly the way you look in the books. But you can move. You can think. You can read books. You can plan. You can wait. Which is fortunate because waiting is most of what you do now. You have been waiting since the king died. The king. Yes, you served a king. The phylactery is buried under his tomb because you knew, when he buried you alive, that he would die one day and the tomb would be sealed. You knew the floorboards would never be lifted. You knew you would be safe. He buried you alive because you knew too much. Because you had told him no once about a thing he wanted. You should have known better. Kings do not forget no. Kings do not understand no. You went into the dark with a calm face. You did not beg. You did not curse him. You knew the deal you had made. You knew what was buried beneath you. You knew, eventually, the king would die first. 80 years later, you are still down here. The kingdom above you has fallen. New kingdoms have risen. A village stands where the king's hall once stood. The village does not know you are below it. You hear them sometimes. Children laughing in the distance. A bell from a small wooden chapel. The sound of harvest carts. The world has gone on without you. This is fine. You are patient. You have learned patience the way only the dead can learn patience. What are you waiting for? The lore is precise on this point, though the storytellers usually skip it. You are waiting for someone to read a particular book. The book is in a monastery 600 miles north. You wrote it. You hid it before the king buried you. The book teaches a specific spell. The spell wakes you. You cannot wake yourself. That is the rule. The phylactery preserves you. Another living soul must release you. You wrote the book in a way that it would not be found quickly. You hid it inside a larger book, a book that monks would copy for centuries before they noticed the spell on the back pages. You knew this might take a long time. You did not know it would take 80 years. You have begun to suspect, lately, that the book was destroyed in a fire. You do not know for sure. There is no way to ask. Tonight is unusual. Tonight you hear something you have not heard in 50 years. Footsteps on the floorboards above you. 2 pairs of boots, one light, one heavy. They are arguing about a map. They are arguing in a language you do not know. It has been so long since you heard a language at all that you are surprised by how much you have missed the sound of human voices. The lighter pair of boots crosses the floor, stops directly above where you lie, sits down, begins reading aloud from a book. You recognize the cadence of the words. You wrote them 800 years ago. The voice above you is reading the spell that wakes you. The voice does not know what it is reading. The voice thinks it is reading a poem. You begin to feel the seal break. The thin layer of old magic that has held you patient for 80 years begins to dissolve like sugar in warm rain. You can move. You can move your fingers for the first time since the king buried you. Above you, the reader finishes the spell. There is a long silence. The lighter pair of boots laughs nervously, says, in a language you still do not know, that the poem is beautiful. The heavier pair of boots replies. They begin to pack their things to leave. They will not leave. The thing they have just done cannot be undone. You sit up in the dark beneath the floorboards. The seal is gone. The 80 years are over. You begin to remember what hunger feels like. Here is what the storytellers always get wrong about the Lich. He is not a monster who feasts on innocent travelers. He is a man who waited 80 years to walk again. The first thing he will want is air. The second thing is sunlight. The third thing is a slow walk to a particular monastery, where one of his old apprentices, very confused, is reading aloud from a book. The two pairs of boots above you will be his problem, not yours. He has waited 80 years. He can wait 2 more minutes for them to leave the floorboards alone. Lich is the Old English word for corpse. You are not a corpse. You are a man who outsmarted death by a margin so thin that he had to spend 80 years in a stone chamber to prove the trick worked. The trick worked. You will see sunlight today.